Queer Network. This is Queer Conversations. I am Justin Gerhard, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Jen Desantis. She is a singer-songwriter, a pianist, and artist from Pennsylvania, USA. Welcome, Jen, to the Queer Network.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here finally for some queer conversations.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Now, what has the COVID quarantine been like for you? You know, we're all over Zoom doing these things these days. It's the new.
Oh my God, I've just been like a creative machine recently. It's been wild. And I think quarantine definitely does that. Like when you're isolated with yourself and you have more than alone time. And I've been doing also some self-care work. So just a lot of creative ideas have been coming to me, which is great. I think I wrote like 15, 20 songs. Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of new music coming. So
amazing. Is it, you know, in these moments this is a moment we didn't expect necessarily. It feel like an extension of like your latest or your recent single from 2017, Someone Else, or is it a new like vibe that you're exploring in this 2020? Like how does it compare to Someone Else?
So it's definitely the same in where I'm true to myself, I'm true to my sexuality. Like that will always be conveyed in my music videos and my music. But I am playing around with synths more. I have microKORG, and I've been just putting more electronic vibes into my stuff. So
synth versus micro something, what's the difference? Just a little technical thing.
So the microKORG is a type of synth, and it's like a 2002 synth, but it has so many cool sounds. So I'm just like a geek with that kind of stuff.
Amazing. I mean, you kind of need to be in this industry where you almost have to do so much of it yourself, right? As you're starting out.
Oh my God, everything from music to social media to marketing. It's like, it's nuts.
What is it like now in the industry to be a part of the LGBTQ? We really like to use the word queer, obviously, Queer Network. And how do you identify with the queer community, or how do you identify yourself?
I am queer, I'm gay, I'm gender bending, gender fluid, she, her, like I'm me. And I think it's really cool that artists they show off their identity in their music, because we need that. It's 2020. We need artists to truly be who they are and not make music, you know, very heterosexual just because it may be more popular.
Do you feel like there's still a lot of pressure for you to fit into does the music industry still feel like it's got a mold that you have to fit into, or do you feel the freedom to be, as you just described, just yourself?
I feel like there's definitely more freedom now than there was obviously before. There's so many artists out. For example, one of my favorites in the LGBT community is Ryan Casada. He's a really big trans icon, and he is just amazing with how he shows his identity through his music and helps his community as well. You know, King Princess, even Annie DeFranco back in like the 90s. Like there's so many amazing LGBT artists that have, you know, stayed true to who they are, and they're killing it.
Let's go back a little bit to 2017, this single, Someone Else, because the message of this song was something that we really did want to dive into on Queer Conversations here, because it is so personal to you and, you know, something that you really did go through in your life.
Your lips. I
tell us a little bit, tell the audience a little bit about what the song is and what it means to you.
So Someone Else was my first music video I've ever done. And that was when I was really finding out my sexuality and trying to accept it. And it was not easy for me. I was with someone who came from a culture that was against LGBT, not a supportive family. So I would have been a secret. And, you know, I don't want anyone to come out if they're not ready. But also being on the other side, it's really hard because I don't want to be just a friend. And I also wasn't even myself ready to fully come out while I was dating her. Even in the song, like at the end of the song, I sang, I'm glad you figured it out before you really broke my heart. And that was actually what she said to me, because I told her I could only see myself like in the future with a man, and that was because society and the media was just like pushing these traditional ideas down my throat. So that didn't even feel right for me saying that. So it's just like a very confusing time for me. But I want people to know, like, that's normal. Sometimes you don't know right away about your sexuality, and it takes years to find out.
I want to know a little bit more about that process of writing that song, and then the translation to the music video. And just in terms of talking about the process of writing music, what was that like?
So the process of writing it, I had the melody first, and this is usually how it goes, where I have a melody in my head first, and then I'll be singing words that kind of pop out to me that relate to how I'm feeling. And yeah, I mean, that just right away, that melody just kind of, whoa, like it was just incredible feeling, because I just felt so much emotion with that. So just writing down how I felt throughout that whole time was, yeah, it was like heart-wrenching even for me. So yeah.
Were you right in the heart of it, or did you had you healed a little bit so that you could write about it? Like, how did that work for you in this for this song?
I was in the heart of it for sure, and I think that's how that's how I write. Like if I'm in the thick of something, that's how I, get better with everything. It's very therapeutic, the way I write my music and all of that. So yeah, definitely in the thick of it.
How do you think she feels about this song? And you can get as personal as you'd like. You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go in this conversation. Are you in touch? How did that relationship evolve, throughout this process?
She really loved the song, actually. She thought it was beautiful. She would listen to it like from time to time, and we still keep in touch now and then, just to see how the other's doing. But yeah, no, I think she really appreciated it, and she understood what it was about. So that's good. That's a really good feeling, because sometimes you don't know. Like as a musician, I'm like, yeah, I want to pour my heart and soul, but how will that other person feel? And that's always in the back of my head with some of these songs. But it it has an impact on people, and that's my job.
What do you want people to take away from this song when they listen to it?
It's just saying, someone else will love you with love better than mine, because how will I love someone if I don't accept myself and love myself? And that's really the message here, is like, focus on yourself and how you really feel, because it's not going to be fair for the other person, vice versa.
It sounds like you have evolved since this song was written in terms of accepting yourself. So what was that process like for you? Because it sounds like at the time you weren't where you are now.
I definitely wasn't where I was. Oh my gosh. It feels amazing. I feel like definitely a new person.
How
I
did
think
you
it
get there?
was I I dated someone else, and I was more accepting with who I was, and I just I had stronger feelings for that person. So then my sexuality just came out a little bit more
Right.
with that person. And then I was like, oh wow, okay. Then I can really start embracing who I was, because then I was like, okay, I get it now. Yeah.
And the reaction of everybody around you, has it been very positive, or has it been a, an opportunity to grow as well?
Definitely a positive experience for me. And I know some people it's not. It's the total opposite. So I'm very thankful that I have family and friends who are supportive. Yes.
You're in a different space now. So the music that you're writing now, how does it relate to your queerness? That was a very, heart-wrenching side of that moment in 2017. It sounds like you're in a different place, but there's struggles after we come out too. So
Yeah.
what are your messages now? What are you feeling like is really important to tackle?
I feel like people shouldn't put so much emphasis into labeling themselves. I think that yes, we should be proud. And I just feel like, I don't know, there's so many feelings with that, because for my next EP or album, it's more focusing on rights and fighting and rising up for justice and all of that. Because during quarantine, there was, a lot of chaos. So I've been writing a lot with that. And I don't know, I think that definitely still be proud of who you are, but never, we shouldn't always have to label ourselves a certain way, because we just are. We are just human beings.
The quarantine, the protests, the Black Lives Matter resurge, it has
Yes.
been this equalizer to basically, bring a lot of different groups together. And it's probably helping too that there are more and more mainstream artists that are, had identified as straight, but are
Yes.
openly challenging the stigmas themselves for their personal music, but also that they're associating themselves with people that they probably always were associating themselves with, but now they're being very transparent about who they're working with. Who's your dream collab? Who's your
Oh
dream
my
collab?
gosh. That's so hard. I really love Tame Impala. I would love to
Okay,
collaborate with him. Yeah, he's just like
amazing.
a one-man band, so I love it. I've noticed that if I collaborate with an artist who's different than me, I can get so inspired by how their sound is and kind of incorporate that into my own. And so it really just helps my music grow even better if I'm collaborating. But some of these songs that are so like dear to me, like I definitely just want it to be just me, because I have a certain vision in my head.
What's next for you? Like you're obviously doing a lot of writing, and it's an interesting time for artists right now because you can't plan a tour, and you're so
I
what?
know it's so, oh my gosh, I miss live shows so much, just like the energy in the
Yeah,
room, the adrenaline on being on stage. But my next plan is I have a new single coming up. It's going to be released
amazing.
September 25th. It's called I Want to Know. And that's sort of about like, even if you're rejected from somebody, there's hundreds of people who will love you for you. And you
Mm,
just have to remember that, like, there are people who will love you when the spark fades away.
yeah,
So that's happening. And I plan to move to California next year with my girlfriend
woo woo.
to pursue music further. So
Oh,
yeah,
have you been doing any live streams that people can watch, or like?
I definitely want to do it a lot more.
Mm,
Before it was like once or twice a week, but I took a little break from social media recently because I just, I was on vacation and I sometimes it gets to be too much if you're doing everything.
I had one other question that is more related to what we were talking about before. We talked a little bit about heteronormity and just this structure that we are all born into as queer people. And how do you think we can break through this heteronormity?
I think that more films and TV shows need to be aware of just putting that into their script. Actually, I know that Disney's Frozen, like the staff was like, this is a really awesome thing because people were wanting, that whole thing to be like a totally gay romance. And the staff was okay with people talking about that. And I think that's even a step. So I think just pushing, the bar just a little bit further is what we need to do. And as artists, just keep showing our pride and keep, being proud of who we are as people. It's definitely getting better. So the more we show it, I think it'll get there for sure.
Truer words have never been spoken. Well, we would love to hear you play some music for the Queer Network. Do you want to hop on over to your piano?
Sure. I Want to Know, which is the new electronic song. This is going to be the acoustic vibes here, but super excited. September 25th. And there's going to be a music video too. I fight a lonely war in my head against the past that's haunted me. Go through the motions, fading like ghosts, and it was never their cup of tea. I wanna know, yeah, will you still love me when the lights go out? I'll never go, yeah, I'll say the things that pass me would doubt. I feel so alive with you. I feel so alive. How can I ever say goodbye? Look in the mirror. What is it that they have that I don't have, babe? Unconventional kid. Can't all the difference, listen, that was like too much. Not enough. I wanna know, yeah, will you still love me when the lights go out? I'll never go, yeah, I'll say the things that pass me would doubt. I feel so alive with you. I feel so alive. How can I ever say goodbye, darling? How could I? How could I say? How could I? How could I be so blind?
I am loving where this is heading. Just want
Thank
you to
you.
know. Well, everybody, get ready for this single to come out. And thank you so much for joining us on Queer Conversations. You're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you for having me, Justin. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you've got an idea for a queer conversation or you want to be a part of a queer conversation, send us an email to queer@thequeernetwork.com and you just might end up on the Queer Network. Remember, keep it queer. Hold on. I had a thought. Thank you so much for thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have a queer conversation, okay, yeah.